Hello everyone, it's Stephen Paul from WinExtra bringing you your daily brief of Microsoft news and headlines for April the 21st, 2011. And we're here. We're running a little late today, my fault. Just had one of those mornings where nothing seemed to work. Nothing. Not zip, nothing. So...
Your zip didn't work?
Well, I tried to zag, but the zip just kind of screwed it all up. Anyway.
Yeah, because you look like you're having one of those days where nothing went right this morning.
Yeah.
You look like you just rolled out of bed, to be honest.
Well, I almost wish I had. I think I spent more time in the bathroom this morning than I did anything else. Anyway.
TMI.
Yeah. What do we got today? There's some... I don't know, most people might not find it that interesting, but anybody that's watched Microsoft for any length of time, there's 2 points of news. One, they finally signed the deal with Nokia.
Yes, and it's much the same as they've been saying all the time.
Yeah.
But it's now finally signed and ahead of schedule, so, you know, there's nothing... In the press release that they've released, there's nothing that we didn't already know. You know, Nokia is going to help with the hardware. Nokia is going to help with, you know, mapping, navigation, location-based services, payment-based services. So using Nokia's billing agreements.
Yeah.
In 112. With 112 operators in 36 markets, and we're expected to see a whole slew of phones at the beginning of 2012. And Microsoft, of course, is doing what Microsoft does, providing, you know, Bing, the platform. The only sort of eyebrow to me in the whole lot of this was that the opening of the Nokia branded global application store. And the interesting thing in the press release is it says developers will be able to publish and distribute applications through a single developer portal to hundreds of millions of consumers that use Windows Phone, Symbian, and Series 40 devices. So it's going to be sort of... I assume it's going to be one store, select your device, and we'll bring you the results regarding that device.
Oh, okay.
But I can see one or two tinfoil hats like yours, like what just went through your brain, which was like Windows Phone developers writing for Symbian.
Yeah.
Isn't going to happen,
no.
But I could see that going through your brain.
Yeah, I was there for a second. I noticed a couple of the early stories I read this morning were couching this in the fact that Nokia's global share had dropped below 30%, and this
Nokia's
was, you know,
global share has been dropping for a while now. That's look, the company was rife with problems. Basically, to put it, stagnation, sheer laziness. Just do a search on the web and look for, you know, anything to do with the problems with Nokia. They'll tell you, like, you couldn't get decisions made because managers were on holiday for summer, so just things weren't getting pushed out, things weren't getting done. Elop's job was to come in and turn this around.
Yeah.
So yes, their market share is going to continue to drop a bit until they start pushing out new products.
Yeah.
But, you know, even if it drops another 5-10%, they're still going to be the biggest in the world.
Yeah, I know.
All right, and this deal with Microsoft is part of turning around their market share as well as Microsoft. Yeah. So you know, that's the point behind this.
It's a $1 billion gamble, but I think it's going to be a pretty safe gamble.
It's not a $1 billion gamble because Microsoft is receiving even though Microsoft has paid them $1 billion for this partnership. Microsoft is going to be receiving licensing fees from Nokia the whole way. So Microsoft is going to make their money back.
Oh, yeah. I'm just...
Regardless.
I think by referencing the $1 billion gamble, I wasn't referring to the money going back and forth. I was referring to the actual agreement between the two companies themselves and whether or not this move to supporting Windows Phone 7 over their own Symbian background is going to pay off for Nokia.
Symbian's not going to die out anytime soon. They're going to have Symbian phones too. But, you know, Nokia needs something to shake them up on the inside, and Symbian doesn't seem to be doing it for them right now. So.
Speaking of shaking up on the inside, and this I think is going to be the big news of the day or the next couple of days, is that Ballmer has released a memo where Microsoft is planning an unprecedented boost in employee compensation along with simpler reviews. Now, for the average listener of this show, that may not seem like much or seem that important, but in the world of Microsoft itself, this is a major sticking point that has been raised by many watchers and ex-employees, present employees, and it's a big one.
Yeah, well, basically, it's a move away from a complicated review system to still a relatively complicated review system when you actually read it, but now your performance review is going to be on your results, how will you work, etc., etc.
Where you work, what department you work in.
Yeah, but it's going to be ranked on a scale of 1 to 5.
Yeah.
And that is going then to determine your compensation and your bonus. The most interesting thing to this, though, is that compensation and bonuses, at least for lower level people, is no longer going to be strictly locked to stock.
No.
They're going to be providing cash incentives directly into your pay packet, which will, I hate to use the word exodus, but it will help stem the brain. It's not even a brain drain either.
No.
When you have a company with like 80-odd thousand employees, you're going to have people leaving all the time. But the unfortunate thing is that when it's Microsoft, especially when it's Microsoft and they go to Google or Facebook, it makes massive news. And it's the same vice versa too. It's not necessarily a brain drain. But, keeping top-level programmers, keeping engineers, that sort of stuff is becoming more and more difficult as other companies provide better incentives for them to stay around.
Interestingly enough, someone I follow, anybody that follows Microsoft knows who Mini Microsoft is. You know who he is. I know who he is. He's
not who he actually is.
Nobody knows. He's the famous anonymous Microsoft blogger who holds no punches. But he's come out with a post on this, and while he's not, going yay yay yay, he does like the look of what's happening. But
look, nobody is ever going to go yay 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 because the only employee review system that would make any employee go yay, yay, yay is one in which the employees aren't reviewed and get their bonuses anyway.
Yeah, and
there's always going to be an issue with no matter what review system you have for employees.
And I think in the case of Microsoft, I think that the biggest difference right now would be to be cutting back on their middle management. That's their biggest problem. You and I have talked about this before.
Yeah.
Right now they are so bogged down in middle management and people that are just deadwood.
And you see, this worries me then, because in the middle of Ballmer's memo, he gives 4 main changes. We've talked about some of them already. I'll just go through them briefly. For all employees, we have merit increase opportunities aligned with local market dynamics and performance rating. Obvious enough. I'm going to skip ahead. I'm going to skip the next one because I want to go back to it. For all employees, we will shift a portion of stock award targets into base salary, providing more cash up front and obvious incremental employee value. That paragraph goes on a bit, but that's what we talked about moving away from the stock to cash. He also says we're increasing funding for our bonus and stock awards so that we can deliver 100% or more of target bonus and stock awards to 80% of eligible employees, which is up from 50% a couple of years ago. Now, it's point 2 that kind of scares me when you're talking about middle management, right? Because we've already had Ballmer say that they want and implement this thing where engineers, programmers should be in charge, not managers. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're trying to make that shift. But then he says, we will make important increases in compensation for specific populations where the market has moved the most. Early and mid-level R&D, obviously, because that's where you're going to get good entry-level, great engineers, great programmers who are coming in here and just getting their teeth cut, right? But then he says mid-level company-wide.
Yeah.
who the hell is mid-level company-wide? Well, at Microsoft, we tend to know, at least, we don't work for Microsoft, we're not in there, but...
product managers, division managers, there's a lot of managers.
It's a lot of middle management.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and of course certain geographies as well, which is, I suppose, keeping pace with local markets. Anyway, this is, as boring as it may sound talking about all this money, this is a big shift for Microsoft. It's a shift that started back in 2003 when they started to move away from stock options, because quite obviously, the stock has been stagnant regardless of phenomenal profits and growth, but the stock option just for some reason won't move. So, this is a way to incentivize people, and it's big. It's Microsoft kind of realizing, we
got to do something.
Yeah, we need to keep people, and we need to compensate them better for being here in order to. You know what it could also mean, though? If you're being better compensated for being there, it might also mean a quicker turnaround and being knocked out that door if you're not performing.
One would hope so.
Yeah.
One would hope so. Okay, next up we've got the DOJ limits Microsoft's purchase of Novell patents.
I'm confused. I am very, very confused by this story. It's coming out of IT World Canada, so I presume you wrote it. But the first paragraph of this story says that Microsoft will not be able to keep patents in the proposed. It proposed to buy under. They were part of the CPTN Holdings company set up by the group set up by Apple, Microsoft, EMC, and Oracle to buy the Novell patents. This is where I'm confused. The title of the post in the first paragraph said DOJ limits Microsoft's purchase, but it actually sounds to me, the more I read this article, that they've actually limited the group's ability, not Microsoft's, because the 33 patents that are in question were ones that are dealing with virtualization and the desktop and server virtualization and even mobile virtualization. And they were actually supposed to be going to EMC, and they actually say that further down in the article, where they say under the agreement with the DOJ, EMC will not acquire 33 Novell patents and patent applications that have been identified as related to virtualization.
Yeah, but now, let's be realistic here. Would this post have gotten as much attention if they had come up that EMC can't hold all these patents?
No, they wouldn't.
No, nobody would have read that.
It's easier to say Microsoft.
Yeah.
There's one or two more interesting things in this, though, beyond the sort of let's twist this to be about Microsoft angle. In addition, all of the Novell patents, or patents, depending on how you want to use it, are going to have to be used under the terms of the GNU, the General Public, the GNU Public License. Version 2, not version 3, version 2.
There's a big difference.
Yeah, and also under the Open Innovation Network license. These are two of the big Linux licenses, for those of you who aren't familiar with those. And the patent group, the people buying these patents, aren't going to have any choice over what is put under what license. That is going to be... they're just being told by the DOJ that this is that.
Yeah.
The reason for it is that it's supposed to... they feel that if they didn't do this, it might have jeopardized the ability of open source software to innovate and compete in middleware, virtualization, and server and desktop mobile markets. And can you stop sending me that thing that says we're over time, because it's bloody annoying? I keep getting this beep in my ear, folks. Hutton's playing with his keyboard, you know?
Okay, this one's definitely up your alley because you're an Xbox owner, but Xbox 3 is targeted for 2014.
Yeah, it's a lot of speculation. It's a lot of rumors still because, you know, rumors are going around at the moment about Project Cafe, which is supposed to be Wii 2. But Nintendo have yet to announce anything or even say, you know, any of these rumors are true. But, of course, that doesn't stop rumors like, you know, it's supposed to have an IBM 3 gigahertz chip in it, Radeon AMD graphics, etc., etc., etc. But of course, people are asking now, where's Xbox 3? Where's PlayStation 4?
Yeah. Yeah.
And neither Sony nor Microsoft look like they're going to release anything till 2014. We did see a couple of months ago, all right, you know,
job apps.
Microsoft looking for graphics, chip designers, and that sort of stuff, which we presume will be related to Xbox 3. So we at least know that not only have plans been underway for a while, but they've been hiring for this for a while. So we're kind of hoping that at E3 this year we might get some idea, we might get some sort of an indication, if not at least specs, about what Xbox 3 is coming up. But just bear in mind that this is going to mean that if they do way off till 2014, and there's no reason why they shouldn't, by the way. You know, they came out, what was it, last year, and said that, you know what, we see another good 3 or another 5 years in Xbox with Kinect, right? Which is a testament to how awesome the hardware is inside it, even if it did, you know, crash constantly and there was a lot of red rings of deaths at the beginning. But they've solved all that with the new Xbox. But, you know, this could be coming up on like a 9-year-old console come 2014.
Yeah.
But of course, Sony's in much the same boat too with PlayStation 3, so, you know.
Now, we did get some feedback again from Steve from Goodyear regarding yesterday, where we were talking about him getting his update on his AT&T.
Yeah, this is because we hammered him for not paying attention during jury duty while he was playing ball.
He says, Steve again, no trials, just the show update and see if you get put on a case, which I did not. However, I was quite pleased when I got home and updated my phone without a hitch.
Well, we know why you didn't get put on the case, Steve, because you were obviously sitting there playing with your phone, and, you know, they realized you weren't paying attention, which is probably kind of good because you didn't lose any money by being on jury duty rather than actually at work. But we're happy to hear that your AT&T phone updated without a hitch. It's, at least somebody on AT&T is definitely getting them. I also got an email from Ryan Duclos, who's also down here in the Alabama region. I believe he's over in Daphne, about a Windows Phone app garage that is happening in Birmingham, Alabama on April the 26th at the Innovation Depot. This is, we'll put a link in the show notes to where this is going on, but basically what it is, it's a Windows Phone event for people who don't know how or have yet to develop Windows Phone apps and want to get started. You'll get to learn everything you need to know, you know, to some degree while you're there, and you'll also get to develop your first app. And everybody who actually submits an app to the store during the event will get an opportunity to win a Windows Phone 7 device, which is fairly cool as well. So they're actually going to have starter templates for those who have never developed an app before to make it uber easy for them.
Cool.
So it's just kind of a cool event for anybody who will be in Birmingham, Alabama. That's April 26th at the Innovation Depot, which is 1500 First Avenue North. About 3 hours from me, so I'll be there.
On that note, if you've got any comments or suggestions or news that you want us to pass along, you can drop us an email at podcast@winextra.com or leave us a comment on the post here or over on youtube.com/winextra, or you can drop us a voicemail at 251-281-8730.
Yeah, you can also send us a text to that number, folks, and it's open 24 hours a day. So.
And on that note, that's Paul. I'm Steve. This has been WinExtra's Daily Brief for April the 21st, 2011. Take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow for the Friday episode.